A very warm welcome back to the Throttle Cable. Thanks for joining me. If you are a regular visitor, I thank you very much. Please make sure you subscribe because it really helps out my channel. And press the like button because that helps it in terms of rankings on YouTube, and it'd be great to try and get this channel a little bit more exposure. What I'm doing today is all about decals. So I'm doing a little decal installation on my 996. I love decals. I think they're fantastic. It's the small child in me that likes to put go faster stickers and stripes on cars. But there's also a real sound logic that stickers make cars go faster. Plenty of theory surrounds that. If you want to do your own research, just look at F1, any sort of motorsport, post office vans, UPS vans, any commercial vehicle on the outside lane of a motorway. They will all have these stickers which are truly making them go a lot faster, and I want to be in that gang. And yeah, just because race car basically. So I've got quite a bit of experience with decals for obvious reasons, that I've sucked them on pretty much every car I've owned, and various experience with different companies. And like everything on my channel, I buy it all myself. This isn't sponsored, but I bought my latest stickers from Zen Graphics, and I've had a brilliant experience with them. And yeah, it's a free plug for them, and I want to give you a bit of a view as to why. I've used various other companies, and I've got some examples that I can show you. I've sourced some from Decals in the States, and they've shipped them over to the UK in a very short space of time, and the great graphics on 3M vinyl. I seem to think that's probably the wrong thing to do though, purely from the fact I'm shipping them from one side of the world to the other. So I've tried to look inside the UK for some decent suppliers as well. I've used Highgate House, one of those stickers on the side of the back of my car here behind me, and I've used Creative Vinyl, where I've got the side decals from the car behind me as well. And I just want to give you a bit of a review of those before I get started, and just show you the different things to look out for and what I perceive to be a decent quality decal. These Zen Graphic ones, by the way, let me get it up the right way, these come on a HEXIS vinyl, which seems to be a very good quality. Let me show you some of these other vinyls, and I'll just show you the differences between them. First up, these are the ones from Creative Vinyl. So they are what you would call an IROC sticker, so the International Race of Champions. When they had those cars, this was the Porsche logo that was down the side of the car. It's quite an iconic sticker, side stripe, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, they've been really nice. They've been on the car for about, I think, approximately a year and a half. And whenever I cut and trim my vinyls, I always make sure I don't wrap round the edges. I stop them short of the edges of the cuts, and I don't wrap them into the arches. I stop them short. And the main reason for that is because they get real tatty very quickly when they seem to wrap around. So yeah, I always take the extra time to give them a real nice cut, rather than just using a knife to slice through the door and then wrapping them in, for example. And I also try and get a nice clean line which cuts with the angle of the arch, and it gives a real nice finish. But yeah, these are the Creative Vinyl ones. Again, a very, very nice reputable company. The vinyl's very thin on these. I can tell a difference between like the thickness of the vinyls on some of these graphics, and I say these are probably the thinnest style of vinyl. I've had no issues with peeling, and yeah, they've been good. No issues there. But I would say that the other vinyls look slightly more durable, but time will tell. But these I've had absolutely no issue with jet washing the car, etc. They've not shifted. Looking up on the sandwich bar at the rear of the car, so I've got 3 decals here. The centre one is from Highgate House, and that's clearly stuck on the car already. This one at the front, the leading edge of the wing, that one is from Decals, and the one at the back is one of my new purchases from Zen Graphics. So what's my perceived difference? Well, this sticker from Decals is actually going to be replacing the one from Highgate House. I'm going to replace this one on the wing, and I'm actually going to replace the one on the side as well with some classic GT3 side stripes, just so I've got the accents on the front and rear bumpers too. My reason for replacing this, there's nothing wrong with the actual decal itself. It's lasted well, and I've had no issue with it. But I started life as a graphic designer, and I've got little picky issues that I get with these things. And if you look at the actual lettering, you can see that every character as you move around the arc has just been turned slightly. So you've got the P, and you've got the O, and you've got the R, and you've got the S, C, H, E. But the graphic itself is in isolation just a square graphic as you'd get on a straight line. Now if you look on the graphic below, you'll see that the actual text curves, so you don't get this kind of disjointed one letter, next letter, next letter, next letter. The letters flow really nicely, and you'll be able to see that by the gap and the distancing between each of them and how it flows around that curve. And for me, that's what I want to see. It's just a slightly cleaner, better way of doing it. Whereas here on these, you'll see quite a small gap at the bottom of the letters and quite a bigger gap at the top. And you'll also see a difference in alignment between the letters top and bottom from where it's following that curve, and this decal or this letter is arching, angling away from the next one along. So yeah, much cleaner line through there. The Zen graphic one, so this is the one that's going to go on the back of the 996, and I really like this. It's a lovely design, and the way that they've done it is it actually curves down. So if I put it in line with this other sticker, you can see it's following the curve, not to the same extent, but it's following the curve of the sticker, the decal on the spoiler. The reason it curves down is because it's going on the back of a car. You'll have this arching effect. If you put a straight sticker, you'd see it like a rainbow arching across the back, and I want the sticker to come nice and flat across so you can read it left to right proper, and that's exactly what this will do. Real nice quality, nice and thick. I say nice and thick, I'm not trying to say that thick is a really good thing, and thicker the better, but it's a nice durable vinyl, and to me it looks like it's going to stand the test of time. They're really nicely cut, they're clean and crisp, and to be fair, I could say that about all of these different decals that I've used. The reason I really like working with Zen Decals this time, and it's the first time and only time I've used them so far, Dan, the chap that works there, he took the time. I told him what I was looking to get, I ordered online, and I followed up with an email just checking that my choices were right. And he came back with a swatch book of different colour vinyls they could use, way more than they had on the website, and gave me his suggestions of what he thought would look best, and gave me the option of various other swatches that I could choose from. And he obviously we're in a social distancing age, so he did this by sending me pictures of the swatch books and showing me what was what. Turned out that pretty much exactly what he chose from the get-go was what I wanted. The only thing that we changed was an anthracite glossy metallic vinyl to a flat gloss grey vinyl. So what have I gone for? I've gone for what is essentially a cloudy blue. It's a grey, but a cloudy blue, and that's going to be the rear decal and the main part of the side strakes down the car. And there's also a Porsche logo on the side decal, and that's going to be the grey colour. And yeah, I think they're going to look fantastic, but I'll let you be the judge of that when they're on. What I'll do, I'll quickly give you an idea of how to apply the decals, and then I'll just show you me like physically getting those decals on. So, to the toolkit of the Vinyl Warrior. This is pretty much everything you're going to need to make sure you've got your graphics in place. Just before we start, I thought I'd put that Zen graphics decal on a straight piece of metal, so just so you can see how it bends down in the middle. And that's just so when it is on that arcing rear deck lid of the Porsche, to the eye it looks straight, but clearly when it's been produced, that graphic has a nice curve on, so it gives you that illusion of it being straight across the back. So on to how we do this. So the very first thing I'm going to be needing is dental floss, and that's because I've got a Carrera badge on the back of my car, and the safest way to remove the badge across the back of the car is to get a length of this dental floss, hold it in two hands, top and bottom of the badge, go underneath the leading edge of that badge, and just essentially in a soaring motion up and down, work your way across and cut behind the badge, and that will cut the foam backing that sits behind that badge. Take that away. Once you've got that out of the way, you'll be left with that foam residue on the car. First off, I use the power washer, the jet washer, just to blast away those bits of foam residue, and then onto a tar and glue remover. I happen to use the Dodo Juice stuff. I think they make some real cracking stuff, so I had lots of success with that. I'll soak a bit of paper towel in that tar and glue remover and literally place it to on the back of the car to loosen that glue. Just make sure all of the all of this cleaner is held in place. If you spray it on, it will probably just run straight off and you'll lose half the power of it. So it's well worth having that. I'll then start to, once it's completely clean, I'll be obviously dry it off with a towel and then place the sticker on. In the centre, put a bit of masking tape in the middle to get my centre line, and measure. I've got a fabric measuring tape, like a tailor's measuring tape here. And the great thing about it is because it's fabric, it's easy to work around the shape of the car, but also because it's fabric, it doesn't damage the paintwork. Don't use one of those horrible metal carpenter's tape measures, because you'll regret it the minute it puts a nice big score across your side of your car as it reels in when you least expect it. But you'll see from the videos, I'll spend more time measuring and making sure things are accurate than actually putting it on. The process of putting the sticker on is super fast. So yeah, I'll be measuring outboard, inboard, up and down to make sure I've got my graphic completely centered. And I'll be putting a stick in the middle and at each end of each length of vinyl, just to make sure that when I work from one half and then the other half, having the other side stuck down keeps it exactly where you need it. So what you'll need to do, you'll need to essentially remove one of the stickers at a far end of so one of the tapes at the far end of the decal, work off the backing all the way back to the center where your next piece of masking tape is, and then cut that backing in half and just cut that piece off, and that'll allow you then to stick down one half outwards. I'll be using one of my squeegees. This one I've got some Velcro on the side, just so it's got a nice soft leading edge to help smooth down that vinyl. So I'll be using that to place the vinyl on. Once I'm happy that one half is stuck, I'll then work my way out the other side. It's important to say I'm going to be laying these on the car dry. In the past, I've tried the other method where you use water and soap to lay the decal. And what that allows you to do with a bit of water and soap, you've got a bit of a get out of jail free card to move the decal once it's on the back of the car. That's a very bad thing when you're trying to do lettering. So the last thing you want is one of the letters to slip and move, and then you'll have a skew with S or a C or whatever in the middle of the badge. It'll look a little bit too funky for my liking. So yeah, it'll be a dry application. Any of the cuts that I need to do around the arches, I'm going to be using a stencil, just a stencil of a curve of the flow of the arch, so I can do the cuts around the arches and the door. And I'll be using my scissors for that. I have got a knife here, but I typically will only use that off of the car. I don't like using knives on the car itself if I can absolutely help it, because there's just too much risk of damaging the paint. So yeah, all I'll be doing is working out where all my stickers are, sticking in the middle, sticking at each end, and then if I want to get a cut at one far end, I'll stencil it, I'll take the piece of tape off, use my scissors to cut out my stencil mark, then re-tape it back to make sure I'm absolutely happy, and then I'll be going for it. So I'll do some time-lapse videos, and yeah, as I say, you'll see me doing a lot more with the prep than probably putting the actual sticker on itself, and that'll be evident for how much the time-lapse is on. Once that's all done, I'll do a little Team America style montage at the end and have a look, see what you think. Please tell me I've made a good job. I hope I have, but yeah, as I say, if you think I could do this better, any suggestions at the back end of the video, put them in the comments, and yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you.